Greetings, dear viewers. We are happy to welcome you on Allatra TV Africa. Today, we are able to gather people from various African countries in the roundtable discussion, Free Media Without Borders, within the framework of Creative Society Project. The Creative Society Project is a unique global project which has been initiated by people themselves on a volunteer basis. The goal of the project is to promote awareness about our responsibility to building the creative society in stages and by peaceful means. Such kind of society where each person in the world will live happily and live in comfort and have everything necessary for living. Currently, we implement the first stage of achieving such kind of society, informational stage. The more people will find out about it, the faster it will be implemented, and mass media plays very important role in this. And to find out more about this project, you can visit Allatraunites.com. I want to introduce my host today, my co-host today, Olga, and give her the floor.
Thank you so much, Olga. We have guests from different countries, and we are having today our third roundtable on journalism. We got to know so many information, very interesting opinions during the previous events, and would like to highlight 4 important topics that the journalists decided to consider also today in the today's conversation and as well in the upcoming ones. The first is that we must admit that we have issue of fake news, and it's of particular concern for everybody. For journalists, for those people who just reading the news, and we also understood that there are real lives of people who are behind. That's why it's a very important issue, and as Olga mentioned, in the Creative Society, this is our biggest project that we are now implementing on the platform of Allatra International Public Movement. It's not acceptable. The second thing that also is of interest to journalists is how we can deliver the information in a non-emotional way. It means when we read about some conflicts, some problems, unfortunately they do exist in this consumer society that we are currently living, we should give our readers inspiration, we should give our readers solutions. So how to present the information in non-emotional way? This is what we will get to know from our speakers of today's roundtable. And the third issue, of course, it's a very important one, how to present information in the open and unbiased way. And here we refer you to the 4th foundation for the Creative Society, transparency and openness of information for all. Also today we'll get to know the opinion of our guests, how to make it and how to achieve it. And let me introduce our first speaker today. Her name is Amina. She is Algerian but living in Turkey. So Amina, please introduce yourself and tell us about your opinion about journalism in the Creative Society.
Yes, hello Olga, hello everyone. I am Amina, as a journalist. I live in Turkey. I'm really interested in that topic. The journalist is a sensitive job, and I think that journalist itself can affect the world and can do so many things with his job, so he must be honest with it. And first of all, first of being journalists, we are humans, and of course we can be somehow sensitive, we can be somehow affected by so many problems, so many issues, but we must control ourselves. We must be so how to say it. We must not take one part. We have to be objective. And this is a tough job, a tough work, but it's one of our how to say it duty. As as so many job in the world, as so many for example, doctors have duties, lawyers have duties, and as journalists we must be how to say it, objective, and send message as we took it. We must not be so emotional and let our sentiment control us. We must not. We are human. We have fears. We could have anger. We could be happy. We could be so many emotions. But we must send message to the audience, to the other peoples, as we took it from the origins. And also the choosing of words. The choosing of words is really important, because when we see action, or we see something happening, when we transmit this the message to other people, we must choose the correct words for everyone to understand it clearly, and doesn't have other meaning, or other how to say it, other effects. And for me, people must be so. There is fake news everywhere, but people must be how to say it, must know that they have they have the how to say it, yeah,
They have a duty.
Yes, we all have a duty to understand the message as it comes, and transmit it as we see it or we saw it, and nothing less, nothing more. But and as people, and as people who watch medias, who watch television everywhere, who has media in their hands, for example phones, for example, we have to know which is the real news and which is the fake news, and as smart people, as normal intellectual people, we have to know what to receive and what to give the other member of environment.
Thank you so much, Amina, for these important observations, because exactly when we are human beings, but we should not reinterpret, and we should try to give information in objective way. And this is the ability we need to learn. It's not coming to us like all of a sudden, but we should teach ourselves, we should learn it, and we should also study this in the universities of mass media, in the faculties of journalism, how to present the information in the very objective way. And of course, it's a duty, because everybody has a duty, and you said it's a duty to give the information in the open and transparent way. And the journalism and the journalist has a duty to do it. Yeah, this is what you wanted to say.
Yes, in fact, this is what I wanted to say, and thank to say it clearly, because I really have language problem.
No problem. It's
No problem.
we are welcome everyone, and all the journalists are welcome. I mean, the language is not here a barrier. I mean, as long as we really can go together to this common goal in the creative journalism and the creative society. So we just would like to thank you so much for your presentation, and also invite Umar from another country, from Nigeria, also to give us his opinion about journalism in the creative society. So Umar, yeah, the floor is yours.
Okay, good afternoon to those who are living in this part of the country, and I don't know whether some people are in some places are mourning, but anyway, good day to you all. My name is Umar Isa Dandugo, and I am based here in Nigeria, in northern Nigeria. I'm a student of university, and at the same time, a broadcaster. I present Global Arena, a program that talks about diplomatic issues, that talks about the biggest international issues of our time. So that's normally what we focus on. And I'm looking forward to hosting some of you, or almost all of you, on the program. Thank you very much. I'm going to talk about two key issues here. First of all, the international media's reportage on the African continent and the fake news. Okay, there are two different things, but they can be simultaneously related. First of all, let me start with the African issues. Africa is a continent that is misrepresented, according to many Africanists, by the Western media. But the argument is that those issues are real, because in university we are taught about objectivity, we are taught about fairness and reporting the facts. Yes, there is war. Yes, in some places. Yes, there is famine, there is poverty, and many other problems. Do you understand, in Africa? And that is why the international media are there. The reporters are deployed on the continent to cover what is going on there. But the problem is that the argument of the people is that the way and the manner in which those issues are reported seem to be negative, too much negative. You can hardly watch a news on an international media organization, either TV or radio, or even on some of the top international newspapers that we have, without seeing a negative report from Africa, coming from Africa. Yes, this is largely because, as I said, those terrible things happen. But unfortunately, there are a lot of good things that are happening on the continent, but they are either misreported or they are either not even reported. So that is one of the arguments that many Africanists are raising. And it's really important for us to look at the African continent from a positive perspective, because there are a lot of things coming on. There are a lot of things going on. There are a lot of developments. One of the arguments, another argument that people are raising is that it's not good for someone from the United States or from the UK or from Russia or from China to come to Africa as a reporter and be reporting African events. This is someone that was never born in Africa, that did not school in Africa, and does not have much about African experiences. He was just sent by his or her own media organizations to report and cover what is going on in Africa. So that is why they have introduced this issue of Africans reporting African events. So now we have it under control. Many of the international media are using Africans to cover African events. This is probably a good idea, because those people, for example, as a Nigerian, if I were to be reporting for one of the top international media organizations, I will be reporting what I see, and not only what I see, how I see it, and not only how I see it, how it is in reality. Because I was born I am originally from the place, which means I'm expected to know almost everything that is happening there. So I can report, I have people to contact, I have people to analyze the whole issues and other stuff like that. So this is very important, and this is serious. So now we have people from Africa reporting African issues for those international media organizations, but yet they are said to have been focusing on the negative issues. To me, my own opinion is that we should also look at the other side of the story. there are developments, there are places booming, there are economies. For example, you have Nigeria and South Africa being either the first or the second largest economy on the continent, and they are doing a great deal of job in improving infrastructure. There are beautiful buildings, beautiful businesses growing up, and people are becoming more and more educated. These are some issues that we should also talk about. Yes, there was a time a few weeks ago, I was interviewing a journalist from one of the top international media organizations, and I challenged her about this issue. Why are you guys so focused on the negative issues that are happening from the continent? And she said that yes, it's one of the reasons is because the people are more interested in what they call human stories. Human stories are the stories that affect human people. I mean, humanities, humans, human beings, humanity, and other stuff like that. So many people, and it's their own attitude, many people prefer to listen or read or watch a serious issue, a serious news, a news that is talking about hunger, famine, war, or something of that nature. But I think the perspective of people should also be changed, that we should not be more interested in negative stories as consumers. You, in the introduction, Olga, spoke a lot about consumer-oriented societies. Yes, of course, we consumers should stop focusing on negative stories, because if we are not interested in these sort of negative stories, then those international media organizations would not be dishing out, would not be reporting those negativities. Yes, of course, it's true that all those terrible things, despicable and deplorable events are happening from our own continent. And thank God that there are other Africans like me who are joining this conversation. We'll also talk a lot about their own experiences. Another issue that I want to talk about is fake news. Okay, is fake news related to the international media stuff? Yes and no. The biggest international media organizations that we have reporting African issues cannot directly be said to have been reporting negative, fake news or misinformation or something. Okay, there are, because of the availability of the internet, because of the accessibility of the internet, many people have how can I put it, have been able to share, to disseminate, and to propagate propagandas and misinformation to the people. Why? Because the social media gives them the opportunity to do that. So they use social media, or they misuse social media to share fake information. Yesterday I was at home listening to a report on one of the local media organizations that we have in Kano, talking about the dangers of spreading fake news. And can you imagine, mostly celebrities are victims of fake news. It's true that you can see a particular Hollywood actor reported to have been killed in an accident or to have died in an accident or something, while if you fact check the story, it doesn't have a basis. It's true. So the celebrities are one of the victims, or are among the victims of this fake news. And to be frank with you, fake news is one of the problems, one of the biggest problems of our time. And if we cannot stop it right now, then there is a problem that in the next couple of years, people will stop trusting the mainstream media. Yes, I know that in Russia you have a lot of media organizations. So if those people, if those people on social media are not, or have not been stopped from spreading misinformation, then you may likely stop trusting the mainstream media organizations that you have, like RT, Russian television, like the ones that we have in Nigeria, NTA, the National Television Authority, the one that we have in the UK, BBC, CNN, and other international media organizations that many people tend to rely upon when it comes to getting factual information. So fake news poses a great deal of danger, not only to the people affected, but also to the media organizations.
Thank you so much, Omar, for your presentation. Since our third round table, in the previous one, we had a speaker, her name is Maya Gadir, who already told us that we already lost the trust in mass media. That is the reason of our gathering. So what you said will happen in a couple of years. Unfortunately, it's already happened. We did lost trust in mass media. And the question is now how to rebuild the trust and how not to throw away the newspapers in the garbage. This is what people are doing. They simply don't read the news anymore. And exactly what you said, we should think about why we have underreporting. This is a very interesting topic to elaborate on in the upcoming conversations. And also, we have seen that now we have also our co-host from Nigeria. His name is Kanu. He's also from the same country as yours, who now joined us.
Oh.
So Kanu, maybe you can introduce yourself, please. And maybe you have some questions to Omar. And yeah, so what do you think about creative journalism? And please.
Thank you, Olga. I'm very happy to see my brother Omar is there. Omar is from Nigeria, just as I am also from Nigeria. But I also like to introduce myself as I live in Nigeria as a human being. And it's good that we are talking about creative journalism today. Omar, it's a pleasure meeting you. It's a pleasure meeting all of you, but I'm just directing my statement to Omar because he's the last speaker.
Oh my God. Thank you very much, Mr. Kanu. It's a pleasure to meet you on this great platform. And I am glad that you are also from Nigeria. Not just because I'm trying to show some sort of racism or something, but I'm just happy that I have another brother, a brother from my own country, of course, doing an amazing stuff. She spoke to me about you, that you're going to be among the contributors, not just a contributor, but co-host of the program. It's really a pleasure to see you on the program. And I'm looking forward to doing more stuff with you, inshallah.
Yeah, inshallah, we are going to meet because the Creative Society idea is something that all over the world we are trying to start it off, to kickstart it. And it would be good if in Nigeria we meet and see how we can expand the initiative.
Yeah,
hello, everyone.
Hello.
It's a pleasure seeing all of you.
Yes, of course. Olga and Riva, would I be excused? Because I only have 4 minutes to get back to school and I have to pray before I enter.
Okay, certainly we appreciate very much that you joined to us today. Yeah, so see you then in the upcoming talks, in the upcoming round tables.
Very much. I'm looking forward to keeping in touch with you. And Olga Jife, thank you very much for being on the program.
Thank you so much. It was nice to meet you and I hope to see you again participating more with us.
Me too. And the rest of the presenters, I'm looking forward to meeting you in the upcoming presentations. Safe, Attorney, and everyone.
Thank you.
Omar, I will collect your number so that we can collect your WhatsApp number from Olga so that we can talk more.
No problem.
Thank you.
I'm available. Okay, goodbye.
Thank you. Well, goodbye. Olga, I'm sorry I joined late. I had a class and I just finished the class and I was rushing to join in, and I'm happy I still met you.
You're just on time.
Listening to the last speaker, thank you. Listening to the last speaker, I could get some grasp of what the discussion is about, the direction is going. I just want to say a few words on creative journalism, the way I feel it, the way it impresses me. What I think is that, you see, most of us, whenever we talk about journalism, international journalism in Africa, we always look at it that they report us negatively. But the fact is that even here in Africa, our own brothers and sisters who also run journalism outfit, they also report negative things about Africa. And if we ask ourselves why this negativity, why are people interested in negative things? It's all just because it is what gives the money. And since this journalism is all about sustaining the profit, so that you can, because the more people that read or listen to your outfit, then the more money you make. So we have a situation where, because of profit motive, more and more people are subscribing to reporting the negative things because that is what most people want to hear. But I want to think it all goes down to, the fact that the system we run today, both the economical and political system we run today, seem to support what we call the materialistic tendencies. People establish media or newspaper, radio or television houses, not so that they can promote true development of humanity. So they will not report those positive things that will help us to develop. Rather, they want to promote those things that will also, let me put it this way, help to divide, help to give them more money, and as well as help to give them more, how do I put it? Yeah, report those negative things that will help to give them more money and sustain them. So they are living at the expense of our ignorance. And the alternative, if you ask me, in Africa, is not, we'll say, Africa Report Africa. We had those situations back in those years, like when we, in the class, when we discussed with other students, in those years of nationalistic struggles, we found Africa wants to be for Africans, Europe is for Europeans. So this is just divide and rule. As far as I'm concerned, we are all humans. And if one human is affected in one place, and the other human is affected in another place. So it is not about Africa reporting Africa, it's about changing the narrative. It's about changing from this materialistic journalism to a more humane journalism. So the alternative is not replacing one journalism with another journalism that is all based on consumerist, selfish, greedy, profit-making orientation, but changing journalism to wear a human face. And what do I mean by wearing a human face? I mean journalism in such a way that we can reach out and build friendship of all humans all over the world, so that we share information that can help the humans survive. If we share information that will help the humans survive, then you find that negative tendencies will no longer be there. We are interested in, what is happening in Niger Republic could happen in Ukraine. What is happening in Ukraine? Do they have information about it? Because it could also affect us here in Africa. So when we share information about how to do things, it makes it a whole lot easier for us as human beings. And then it makes it possible for that dream. All of us are talking about having a society where news are reported objectively. It is about the facts. It's not about fake news. I know it makes it a lot easier and simple. And I want to say something too, that the current mode of journalism underreports so many things. We don't hear much about climate change on our news reports. We don't hear much about this, not because they don't want us to hear that way, they don't want us to hear it, but because they are not interested in it. But what is happening, for example, in all over the world, the storm, the flooding, the earthquake, the landslides that is happening all over the world, if people had information, perhaps they could have, evacuated before those things happened. But this information is not shared. We are rather interested in reporting it after it had happened. So my own idea of creative journalism is journalism where we pay attention to, those things that will extend and enhance our friendship, the human brotherhood all over the world. It's not about Africa reporting for Africa or Europe reporting for Europeans or about who is paying who. Rather, it is about how do we provide an alternative journalism that can report news that will help us to develop our human and spiritual abilities to the fullest. Olga, I think that is what creative journalism is to me. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kano. You really covered many topics and many issues in journalism. And I want to introduce our next speaker, Saif. And Saif, please, I'm giving the floor to you to speak out on journalism and issues. You can announce the topic you would like to speak on.
Hello everybody, I will introduce myself again. This is Saif Mrabat. I'm from Tunisia, but I live in France. And I'm still a journalist for sure. And I'm so proud to be a journalist, even there's too many problems, or maybe there's too many rumors or fake news that this job is to have too many critical and have too many danger, have too many negative sides, but we have to defend for sure. This is why I want to talk about the fake news, and I'm really concentrated about this topic, as I already talked about that before in my job, in my workshops, etc. So I will try to concentrate about fake news in general, because what we all know is a historical crisis of human communication that produced tension, disharmony, and misunderstanding in the human society. So in this age of digital communication, social networking gets a new momentum worldwide. And we can call it many names. It means misinformation, disinformation, false news, inaccurate news, and rumor. So this is the old name of the fake news. And the problem remains almost the same. I mean, the COVID-19 pandemic, the world is in a grave with 500,000 dead. Health-related uncertainties give birth to new phenomenon that is addressed as an infodemic. So it's still a problem. So, and the second part, I want to talk about the fake news and the social media. What is the relation between? Because the fake news in the social media has 4 primary categories: text, photo, audio, and video. However, fake news can take more than one form at a certain time. In that case, 2 or more primary content constitute other combined categories. For example, political fake news can take the form of both text and video simultaneously. Considering this, such as social media, fake news is found in several forms in total. Third, I want to talk about the effect of the fake news in our modern situation now. Because while scrolling through Facebook recently, I already read about posts listing several facts about U.S. connections with Ukraine. Normally, I scroll past political posts without a second thought, but this one bothered me. Not because of any personal political affiliation or opinion, but because the information was completely false. Fake news is quickly becoming an epidemic, actually, and as a public relations professional, it scares and angers me how often and how quickly completely fabricated stories circulate. And I want to just give us some tips about how we can combat or defend the fake news. As a communications professional, it's your duty to help remedy the crisis of fake news, and we have to firstly do our research. So we don't have to take them as a face value. Check the situation and dates. Research to ensure it's from reputable resources and not outdated. For instance, a study or statistics have been true at some point, but it is more than a few years old. The information could no longer be fact, and we have to second find source, and third we have to consider the journalist or the media for sure, because unless it's from a credible news source, we worry that information could be fake. To conclude what I want to talk about, so we can't stop the fake news in general, but we can at least do our part to keep it from being reposted or repeated. And that's it.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Saif, for your presentation and for your input into this topic. And I would like to tell everyone and announce the conference which is coming up on 20th of March. This is the global unique conference about creative society. It's called What the Prophet Dreamt of. And I'm inviting everyone to participate, to watch, to invite people to spread the news, because it's really unique. It's nothing like that ever happened in the world. All this conference is all prepared by the volunteers of Allatra movement, all free of work time. We're doing it, and many people already joined into preparation, into making this possible, making this happen. And because people really want to live in creative society, in society, in safe society, in society of happy people, and there are many people who are ready to act for it. And right now it's very important that every inhabitant of the planet learns about this unifying idea, and you know that changes begin with us, and to spread this information is really important right now. So I want to invite everyone to this conference and watch a little video clip about the upcoming event. I'm asking technical support to show it to us. Thank you.
It is the 21st century. We have launched rockets into space, but we still haven't learned to live in accord with each other. We have created many religions, but God is actually one. Why is everything divided and fragmented into parts? After all, the truth is one for everyone. Buddha said, if you really love yourself, you will never be able to hurt another person. But we say, I love you, and cause pain. Jesus said, love your neighbor as yourself. Yet, why do we quarrel and fight all the time? Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, taught none of you truly believes until he loves for his brother what he loves for himself. Look around. What kind of world are we living in today? Is this really what the prophets wanted? Creative society, what the prophets dreamt of. Unifying Global Conference, March 20th, 2021. It is time to create the world that all the prophets dreamt of.
Yeah, this is unfortunately our reality nowadays, that we are proclaiming one things and we are totally on practice implementing the others. The same thing that we heard from journalists before, that we had so many declarations on protection of human rights, so many beautiful things on paper, but in reality, the question is, what is now in reality? And let me introduce also Nadra. She is a journalist from Sudan. And she was with us in the previous conversations as well, and she will share her vision on implementation of creative society and also how to spread the message of this important global project also in the mass media. Nadra, please.
Nadra, please unmute yourself.
Yes, yeah, it's just necessary to unmute yourself.
Hello?
Yes, now we can hear you.
Okay, I am Nadra Mahdi from Sudan. I am journalist in a democratic newspaper, in the Journalists Without Border. Actually, I have 2 points to say here. That Sudan is classified as one of the developed countries. If we talk about creative society, we need to spirit. If we need to spirit the idea itself, we have a plan to do it. We must classify that. We need coordination. We need work between the regional of the Africa, between the Arab country, and between the global, all of the around the world. Sudan is classified as a Muslim country, and creative society is ideal society. So we talk here about the morality of the Islam, about the Sufism, specifically about the Sufism in the Sudan, because Sufism talk about the humanity, morality, how the people be honest. things I need about journalists about journalists without border. I have experience before 6 years in Indonesia, in Bali. We are most of 400 journalists. We collect there to cover UN climate change conference there. We cover the conference of the United Nations Climate Change Conference, but we share knowledge about the environment itself, about the developed country we come from, about the world we want to make change. So if we talk here about journalism without border, we need to know how we can collect all of these journalists, from where countries they come from the world one or developed country or Africa, etc. So we need to know what is your idea about the creative society, how they can implement it in Africa or their countries, who can help us to do this. We need logistic, we need fund, we need we need even spirit to show what is the right way to go in our field, in our ways. There is many difficulties that we face, many challenges that we face, especially in Africa, and especially in Sudan, because we have revolution here. We have exactly military government inside our transitional period. So we need to know what is the best way that we can spirit the idea itself of the creative society. How the spirit can help us to talk about the humanity itself. I know that if I am a human being, I have my rights. If I am a human being and I am woman, I have also my rights here. I have difficult to do my job here as a journalist and woman, and study and complete my education, to marry, to everything, to live. I have difficult to live here in Sudan, because if this is one of the before, as Olga before, we have no electricity, no water, no everything. There is problem in the network, in the internet itself. Many problems we have here. So if I want to talk about the humanity, about my rights as a woman, as I am human, I need many help actually. So my idea here, if we need to spirit or talk about journalism without border, we need a plan to be. We need a plan to talk about what is the creative society itself, how we can implement it, what is the support the exhibit can make to us, and after that, the result that we will get it in how many years? It takes 3 years, 4 years, and after that, how we can follow up the change. We need the change. We need to change not one society, not one village, not one city. We need to join all over the world and implement this idea around all of this world. Thank you so much, and hope we can succeed.
Yeah, it depends totally on us how we can succeed and in what way. And after such inspiring offers and ideas to start the journalism without borders and to consolidate our efforts in one goal, I'm sure that it's not going to be a problem, because as you exactly mentioned that in some countries we don't have electricity, in some countries there is no water, but the question is how we can consider ourselves a progressive civilization if we still the basic needs of the human beings are not covered. So basically it means that we are not progressing, we are degrading instead. And now we will ask our technical support team to show to us 8 foundations for the creative society. Just to have a look, this is what we have summarized, and we have gathered again to remind our guests and our viewers from so many opinion polls, roundtables like this. We are having now conferences, asking them what changes they would like to see, what will make them proud, I mean, and what type of world they would like to live. So our technical support, if there is an opportunity, please show to us this video of 8 foundations for the creative society.
The information, oh my God, the way we talk and the way we get to talk with each other through the information stage, through mass media, through Facebook, through Instagram, you know, whatever that is. When you look at the moment of time we're in right now, in a pandemic, and the world has come together through social media with the desire to come together and make changes in the life we live, thinking ahead, evolving into something else, not wanting the same anymore. I always believe that there's a reason for everything. And this pandemic was a reason for us to sit down and think about, where are our lives going? What are we doing? What is the rest of the world doing? Because we all, the day we're born, we all have a dream inside of us of peace, of love, of all of those things. We feel that when we're kids. And in this information stage where we're able to connect, we're able to teach each other all across the world. We're able to teach our kids all across the world. We are learning today from each other. This is an historic day of information and education, all wrapped up in one language. The desire to do better, the desire to have a creative society.
This is a video, actually an extract of the conference that we had already organized. It was in December, Creative Society United We Can. And it was a speech of our guests from that conference over there, talking about that we are also responsible for what is going on today, regardless if you are a journalist or if you are not. And let us also introduce our next speaker, and her name is Piscaline, and she's from Rwanda. And she'll be talking about how to present the information in the non-emotional way, how to give this in the way that it will inspire people instead of making them more upset. Piscaline, if you hear us, yeah.
Yes, hello everyone. I hope you can all hear me. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are. I'm Pascaline Ikize from Rwanda. I'm a multimedia journalist and an editor. So the reason why I chose today to speak about how we can deliver non-emotional stories, but instead deliver encouraging stories, is because most of the news, most of the articles we read nowadays, when you see a title of the story, and when you go inside the story, what basically leaves you inside when after reading story, what you are left with is not that thing which can move you from one step to the other, or it's not that thing which can encourage you to do something, but instead it's just most of the stories, they just leave you in a confused way, with so many questions, with cries, if I can say that. And we as journalists, we are meant like to encourage the readers. So if, for example, you see a title of the story, let's say someone killed a child, a 10-year-old child, and you go through the story, we just live by there where the action just ended. But instead, that's where the story basically should stop by. There is something else that happened after that. There is an action which happened after that story to happen, but we don't put that after thing in the story. We think that with creating so much emotions in the stories, that's how we attract readers. That's how we will need the person to come again to our site to read other stories. But instead, that's the opposite, because we want the reader to read the story and say, oh wow, so the person did this again, the person did this after. Oh, me too, I can do this. Me too, I can take an example from it and do something. That's what we should ask ourselves, okay? And when you are going to write a story or when you are going to publish a story, first of all, read it. If you as a writer read the story, what kind of emotion do you get after that? Do you just sit there, the action happened, you cry and that's over? Nothing else comes after the story? Read the story first, and the way you act, the way you will react on the story, that's the way the readers will also react on the stories. And something I've realized in nowadays stories, there's sometimes journalists think that in creating emotions that are not there, that's how the story will be more interesting, which sometimes end up in even telling non-real stories, or we have a story and they try to change the story so that they create many emotions that are not really there, thinking that's how they can attract the reader. But that's not what that's not the real story. Just say the story the way it is, but again, what do I want the reader to do after reading the story? What do I want the reader to have in mind after reading the story? Not just saying something just because it's a story, just because you have to publish, and just because you have to deliver. No, what am I delivering? Is it real? Because we are journalists, we act as intermediate with other people and what is happening around the world. So what is that thing that is happening around the world, you are not telling it the way it is. So and even now we are moving basically in a digital world. Sometimes back in years we used to have hard copies of different newspapers. You could the story in there will really like real, the way the story happened. But with the time that we are shifting to the digital world, I don't know if it's the digitalization that is causing the news nowadays to be non-real, because people are more active on social medias, are more active on newspapers, and so that doesn't give enough time to the journalists to focus on what they are going to deliver, because he or she wants to deliver an article each second, but instead of delivering many articles without the big thing in the stories, you can instead deliver 1 or 2 articles, but which will lift someone from one place to the other. So we should also like work on that. And know that the better you give, the more you give the real stories, the more you shift someone from action, not just leaving him or her in only emotions, the more you will even attract the readers. If like I saw a story, I did the same the next day, it means that I will have that hunger to come again to read the new stories which are there, to know more exactly about what the news has for me. So that's what I have to say about delivering the non-emotional stories. Try to think about how can you encourage your readers. How can you help him to react on the stories, not going to cry and stay there only, but how can I say a true story, give a true story, not adding in the story emotions which are not there, just only to attract readers, but give a real story which can impact someone, a real story which can encourage someone. It cannot even encourage him basically to do an action, but it can help him or her to think twice about the story. Oh, if this happened, maybe what can I do for on me personally so that it cannot happen again, or that it can happen differently. So that's what we should focus on, instead of trying to give people stories which are not real, which are just which are not the way it happened, but what do I, my reader, to get? Why do I want?
Hello, Pascaline. Oh, it's like Pascaline is having problem with the internet with connection. Thank you, Pascaline, for that wonderful piece. If I understood what Pascaline is saying, and I think I agree with her totally, that most times our concern when we are reporting news, especially journalists are reporting news, even those of us who are now journalists on social media, we do what is normally done in book writing. We like break the story at the point where the suspense is most. We only pick those aspects that we think has the most emotion, that will rouse the most emotion in our readers, and then broke off at there without giving the complete picture. And because this complete picture, like Pascaline is saying, is not quite there, we find that people, are reacting on one side of the story and not actually reacting based on full detailed information. Thank you, Pascaline, for that beautiful, I would say, wonderful, interesting and educating piece. I will take note when I'm also writing a news article to see that I give it a full rounded report. I would ask our technical team if they could show us foundation number 5 of the Creative Society. Let's take a look at it and then compare it with what we have just heard. Technical support, could you show us on the screen foundation number 5? Thank you. All right, there it is. If you don't mind, I will read it out loud. Foundation number 5 says the creative ideology. The ideology should be aimed at popularizing the best human qualities and stopping everything that is directed against a human. The main priority is the priority of humanity. High spiritual and moral aspiration of a human, humanness, virtue, mutual respect, and strengthening of friendship. Creating conditions for the development and education of a human with a capital H, cultivating moral values in each person and society, and prohibition of propaganda of violence, condemnation and denunciation of any form of division, aggression, and anti-humane manifestations. I think this sort of like, to me, thank you, thank you, technical support. This to me sums up the creative journalism, journalism that promotes, prioritize, popularizes those the information that will prioritize the development of the human. And anything that is contrary to this, of course, we are still where we are. We can't be different. So the creative ideology is for us to create conditions for the development and education of the human, so that even in our news reporting, it's we are all interested in the human development and not just in profit making. Thank you. Olga, Jeffy, you want to add to this?
Thank you so much, Kanon. Thank you for reading and presenting the foundation number 5. I really appreciate this. And I also want to mention, for those who hear about 8 foundations of creative society for the first time, that you can find the full article about 8 foundations of creative society on Allatraunites.com website. And I also want to tell you that they were created by social surveys in more than 180 countries around the globe. And they are based on the answers and needs of people. And they're actually everything that people want. And I want to ask technical support to show us all the foundations, and let's think all together how the world will change when the 8 foundations of creative society are introduced and will be implemented in our society. I think it's really worth our efforts to achieve this kind of society. So technical support, can you please show us the video? Thank you very much to our technical support. And I want to introduce our next speaker, Claudia from Cameroon. Claudia, please, could you introduce yourself? And I'm giving you the floor.
Okay, thank you very much, Olga, JP. Nice to be with you this evening. Good day, everyone. Hi, Olga and Riva. Hi, Kano Eleke. Yeah, talking about the creative society, the media and journalists have a very vital role to play towards building a more creative society because of the technological advances that we are facing today in the world. And looking at the media industry, we realize that journalists do not only have as responsibility to inform the public, but also they have the power to choose the type of information that they want to share to the masses. And as such, we have the journalists have the power to choose between positive news and negative news. And it is rather aching for us to say that or assume that the media industry today chooses to go for the negative news, maybe because of the traffic that such news will generate. So the media has a vital role towards building a more creative society by shaping opinions, that's shaping public opinions, through the type of information that they make accessible to the general public. And it is for this reason that the media is being considered or termed as the fourth estate or the fourth power of the government besides the executive, the legislative, and judicial power. And taking into consideration all these aspects of the media power in shaping public opinion, the media industry and journalists in particular have the power to shape the type of community or society that we want to see today and for the future generation. And this brings us to asking the question, what is the way forward from where we are today? How do we achieve this creative society thanks to the media and journalist efforts? And to answer these questions, we've come up with some guidelines or recommendations that will help us, all of us, not just the media personalities, but with attention to the media industry and journalists in particular. And looking at that, at the way forward or the guidelines, we'll see that the media and today the social media, that's the new media, can be very influential on society in both positive and negative ways. It gives people the way to stay in touch with one another live, far away, like we are doing right now. Interesting is the fact that people share fun on the media, more specifically the social media, informative content, and gives the social media gives businesses a way to engage with their customers. And one of the problems, however, is that anybody can share anything, including material that may not be accurate or good for public consumption. In some cases, this material information are really harmful, and such harmful information is done when people spread inflammatory or unverified false information. This can harm private individuals, as when someone is bullied online, for instance. It can also be very harmful to the society as a whole. And to come out presenting some of the guidelines or recommendations on how the media industry and journalists can contribute to building a more creative society. We will first of all encourage the journalists to practice solution journalism. What we mean by solution journalism is that we need to focus more on bringing solutions to problems rather than sharing problems, because the more we share problems, we are indirectly pushing the public to be more focused or pay more attention on such problems rather than presenting the solutions to them, because when we share solutions, we are already solving the problem indirectly. And the next thing to encourage journalists or the media industries is to focus more on positive news that will help the public and not news that will be very harmful to the public, because focus on positive news, it reflects on the positivity of the society. It gives hope to the masses. It gives hope to the public. That's positive news helps to revitalize us, rejuvenate a lot of things in us. It gives us hope that the world is not only about negativity, because people are really tired of getting up every day and seeing only negative news. Maybe an accident occurred here and 50 people died. There's a fire outbreak there. So we really need to change the paradigm and preach more or share more of positive news, because with positive news, we will be able to create achieve a more creative society. And the next point we'll be talking about here is investigative journalism. The media industry or journalists should be more investigative in their reports. And this does not really only tie to journalists, or it doesn't apply only to journalists or the media, because us as consumers, that's the public, we also have a role to play. When we go, for instance, on the internet or the social media and read something there, we shouldn't just go ahead to share, but we have other resources available to us, like in the internet, Google, where we can try to verify the information before sharing. Because when we share an information, whether consciously or unconsciously, we are multiplying the effect of that particular information, either the information being negative or positive. Because when it's negative, let's say a defamatory information, when we share such information, we are indirectly instigating conflict between parties. And to come to this, we would like to also say that politicians in particular, they have a very vital role to play here, because during campaigns, because of their egos or interest in what they want to achieve, they prefer to say whatever information they want to say, or a lot of negativity about the opponent. And those that are in favor of this politician, this particular candidate, they will proceed by sharing this information. And we have to know that on the social media, on the internet, what we share wherever we are, it might be very harmful, not just to those in our immediate environment, but to those maybe far away from us, because information on the internet is not limited to a geographic location. So when we are sharing whatever information we have on the internet, we should make sure that we investigate the story. We should put in practice investigative journalism, not just because we want to investigate and portray the negative image, but we should investigate factual information and make sure that the information that we are sharing out is very, very truthful and factual. And we also have to weigh the impact of this information, because it's not what every information that we come across as journalists that we want to share, because we have to first of all consider the impact of the information before putting it, making it accessible to the general public. And coming to this, we also like to add that media consumerism is also very important here, because the masses, it seems as if the masses or the public themselves they have a particular, I don't know, maybe I should say desire or interest, because desire or interest for negative news. Because when you share an article that has a lot of negativity, for instance, somebody has committed suicide around you and the picture is shared on the internet. When we look at such stories, we'll see that such negative stories that portray the society in a negative way has more traffic, because when people see it, increases the number of likes, the number of comments, and I think at this level, it shows to the media industry that this is what the public wants. So we, the public or consumers, we have to try in as much as possible to shun away from enjoying or liking and commenting on negative news, because when we do so, we are telling the public that, oh, congratulations, we like what you are presenting to us and we want more. Because if a journalist publishes such an article that has a lot of negativity in it, and we do not share or we do not react, the journalists or media industry will personally, without anybody telling them, know that this story or article is not really worth consuming. But when there's a lot of traffic towards this particular aspect of news, we are telling the journalist or media company that we really enjoy what we are doing and we want more of it. Because if we don't like something, we'll not go for it. And going back to publishing news by journalists, I would like to encourage each and everyone. We know that that's the breaking news is very, very important, because every journalist or media organ wants to be the first. I'm the first to break the news. And from there, I think many people will quote you by reposting the news. We have to deviate a bit from that. We shouldn't only rush to publish, to be the first to publish, because in most cases, when we rush to publish, we fall into the pit or into the trap of publishing fake news. That's very detrimental to our society, to the type of society that we are trying to build. So we know that scoop or breaking news is very, very important because it gives the journalist or media organ a lot of credibility or referrals from other media, but we should try to be able to investigate before we post, and consumers themselves should be able to verify whatever information that they see published by a particular media. And when they do so, I think we will be able to go a little bit away from negativity and fake news. So how do we combat fake news on the media or on the internet, the social media? I encourage everybody that once we see information on the internet, because the internet is accessible to everybody wherever you are, not just to journalists, and we have the power to post whatever we want to post on the internet. Because we are in an era where everybody wants to be a journalist. There's a lot of citizen journalism being practiced in the world today. Everybody wants to be the informant. So I'll encourage that when we see information, we have access to Google. We should try to verify the source of the information, because if a source is not credible, whatever information that particular source is sharing will not be credible too. So we should try to investigate to be sure that the information is coming from a credible personality. For instance, a journalist or a reliable media source, and as such we can repost the story by quoting the source of that particular information. Because when we do so, we try to give accountability to that particular organ. And talking about accountability, as journalists and media organs, I would like to encourage each and every one of us that whenever we share information and we later realize that this information was not really the type of information, it had some faulty or some misinformation in it, we should be bold enough and honest to come to the public and apologize, accept the fact that we shared information that was misleading. Because doing that, it gives us, I think to me, it gives us more credibility rather than maybe diminishes our image or reduces our credibility. Because honesty is really one of the characteristics of a good journalist. We should learn to be very accountable with whatever information that we share. And to round it up, I would like to say that achieving a creative society is not a finished product, and each and every one of us, we have a vital role to play. Creative society is not a finished product. It is just an emerging product, and all of us, we have a major role to play towards achieving this global goal. Thank you very much. I think I've come to my presentation.
You wrote, you gave to us different important issues, so I was writing after you. It was like, a lecture about creative journalism. So let me summarize your position, what you said. So first of all, we should think about credibility of the mass media, and in case if fake news is appearing, and we should seek for the public apology from that mass media which published the wrong information. Also, you must take the active position and verify, those who are consuming the mass media product, we should verify the source of information as well. So we should take active position as people who are reading and watching the news. Also the guidelines, elaborating the guidelines for journalists, which will help us to rebuild trust in mass media, it certainly will be of help. And let's invite, our guests of today's roundtable and our viewers who will be watching us, those who would like to join this idea that Claudia from Cameroon just said, to participate in the elaboration of these guidelines. It will help us to rebuild trust in mass media. So let's start doing this. Also, during the roundtable, we heard about the issue of underreporting in the consumer society. This is we should bear in mind, and we should think how we can remedy the situation. As well as we heard about that we do have human rights, as our journalist from Sudan, Nadra, told us. But it's only on paper. But we should understand that we do not exist on paper. We are real, you know. We are real human beings, and we have real human rights. So we are not satisfied with our freedoms on paper. And also, let's start this initiative, Media Without Borders, that our journalists already had advised. And also would like to ask if any one of you would like maybe to give us some suggestions for the upcoming roundtables. Kanu, Saif, Claudia, what topics you think are important to raise for the upcoming roundtables on journalism?
Okay, thank you very much, Olga. Like I'll always say the way forward, because we already know there is a problem and we need to change the situation. We need to change the paradigm. So how do we move from here? What are the steps that we need to put in place in order to see this goal or achieve this measure objective? So I would still recommend that we should try as much as possible to come up with many recommendations, proposals on how we can proceed, because we already know and we accept that there is a problem. So how do we proceed from here? We need to call all the actors involved, private actors as well as public actors. We need all the actors at the national level, at the regional level, and at the international level. So even the civil society organizations, they have a major role to play towards achieving or rebuilding the type of society that we would like to live in today and to create for the future generations. So I would still recommend that or suggest that we should come up with individual or maybe, I don't know, a global or individual approaches on how we can build a more creative society, not just for us today, because the society, we are all passerbys, and we need to create a society where even by the time we are leaving, we should be happy that those coming behind us will be happy to, or maybe will be proud of what we've left behind. Thank you.
Well, I also think, yes, that I agree. We could also discuss, like Claudia was mentioning, we could also discuss the guidelines. What guidelines should journalists in Africa and all over the world, what guidelines should guide us in reporting news? And I would want to say that in adding a little to what Claudia said earlier, it struck me when she said that we should practice solution journalism. Yes, that is to me also what I consider as creative journalism. It struck me that we journalists, we cannot achieve and report positive news unless we ourselves we evolve that positivity. When we are positive, then we can report positive news. Why do I say this? We have this saying that it is from the same flower, the same nectar, that a spider goes to draw the nectar with which it makes its poison, that a bee goes to draw the same nectar with which it makes its honey. So we journalists, the whole thing is left with us. If we evolve positivity, then we can report positivity. And I think that is the good thing about what we are discussing today. And then I would also want to add that, yes, we could also, at individual levels, even we have this program, Cis Handshake broadcast. At individual levels too, we can invite our friends, and have these discussions, so that the more people we could get to talk about this, then the faster that news gets spread. Then when we meet maybe on a telebridge like this, we would have also have done our homework by discussing with so many other people so that information can reach far and wide. So we have in Africa, we have our Allatra TV Africa, where we host programs. You can also be one of it because all of us are volunteers. You can host program and then, or you invite Olga, invite any of us, we will be there and we can co-host together and then information can get around. And somebody is raising his hand.
I think we can also ask Saif, because Saif also was our speaker today, what he maybe has some advices on, for our upcoming round tables.
I just agree with Mr. Kano because he talked about the creative journalism and how to make journalism creative. So it's like how we have to for example, to build our African Allatra, for example, our channel in the Allatra program. So I just agree. I don't have any idea exactly here.
And I also think what Kano just suggested to all of us to make a small homework. It's like, will benefit all of us. So we can maybe elaborate on the topics that also will discuss today. I mean, ethics in journalism. And also, as we were mentioning that creative society is emerging. So it's undoubtedly a new trend. And it's undoubtedly like a progressive project that brings together scientists, students. Today we had also a student of the mass media faculty, professors in the university, practicing journalists, to see how to change the situation from this deadlock and utopian consumer way of civilization to a more progressive, giving life, creative community everywhere. And we would like also to show to a small video how to join us. It's very easy to do it. If you go to Allatraunites.com website, there is over there a red button where you can press it and basically become our guest of the upcoming events. As Kano mentioned, we have Allatra Africa, and everybody is welcome to participate. And even recently we started opportunity to join us like on radio. Not only by video, in case maybe some difficulties in internet are experienced by people. And we would like to thank you so much for today.
Yes,
Thank you
Olga,
so much, everyone.
before we also go, you are introducing that how they could join. If you get to that website, allatraunite.com, you will see the red button, you click on it, then it will bring up a form which you fill. It's easy and short to fill, and it's in different languages, so you can choose the language that suits you. And then you can also scroll down and see the project that you may answer the questions and then tell us how you want to participate. Then you can submit the form, and you are already participating as a creative society participant. That's just all I want to add to what Olga has just said. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kano, and thank you everyone for joining. I want to again invite everyone to the conference.
Okay, so the upcoming events.
Can you hear me? Can everyone hear me?
Yes, okay. I can hear you,
okay.
Olga. Yes.
Okay, thank you. The conference will take place on March 20th, and this is the day when people will unite to find out the whole truth. And in all cultures, there is an image of an ideal world in which people want to live. And this is the world that the prophets were talking about. And the time has come, and I want to announce the trailer about the upcoming conference. Thank you.
Unprecedented event of present history. Initiative that comes from people around the world. Main project of
of humanity. People stopped being silent about urgent issues of our society. How it all started. May 2019, International Online Conference, Society, The Last Chance. 140 countries of the world, hundreds of thousands of people online, hundreds of broadcast platforms, translated into 7 languages simultaneously. If we all want to live in peace, why do we have a world of violence and destruction? It is up to us to build a different world. How can we do it? December 2020, Creative Society. United we can. 180 countries of the world. Millions of people online. Thousands of streaming platforms. 35 languages simultaneously translated. People have voiced today's reality and what they truly desire. And it is the Creative Society. All cultures have an image of the ideal world people want to live in. A world that prophets talked about. The time has come when we can make it real. How will we use this chance? Let's meet March 20, 2021, 3 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time and 10 a.m. Eastern Time. International online event of global scale. Creative Society, what the prophets dreamed of. This is the day the world will unite to find out the truth. Join the entire humanity and spread the message.